Welcome to our School Board Candidates Forum, sponsored by the League of Women Voters of Schenectady County. I am Roberta Steiner, your moderator for this evening. The League of Women Voters of Schenectady County has a tradition of sponsoring forums like these for those who are running at the congressional, state, and county levels, as well as for school boards. The League believes these forums help provide information for voters making their voting decision. The League is a nonpartisan organization and does not support any candidate. This evening, we will give you an opportunity to gather information about the candidates for the Schenectady City School District Board of Education to help you make voting decisions. All of the candidates will be on the ballot on May 16th, have been invited to tonight's forum. I don't know if you caught that, May 16th. That's tomorrow. Remember to vote. These candidates are serving our community and participating in a democratic process by their willingness to run for office. We have a few rules. We ask that no campaign signs, buttons, or literature be distributed in this room. There is a table for campaign literature outside in the hall. There is also information about the League of Women Voters. Please take a look at it. Also, please silence your cell phones for the duration of the evening, and no video or audio recording or pictures are allowed. This event is being live streamed by the school district. You are welcome to submit written questions on the cards that have been distributed, and some have been collected already. The questions should be suitable for all of the candidates to answer. Please hold up your cards, and an usher will collect them throughout the forum. Questions will be screened, and questions that are unclear, hostile, or of a personal nature will not be used. Questions that fall in the same general area may be consolidated in the interest of time. There is often not enough time to cover all the issues. Feel free to contact the candidates directly for more information. And how will the evening go? Just like this. The candidates will have a 2-minute opening statement, 1 minute to answer each question, and 1 minute closing statement. We have timers who will hold up a yellow card, demonstrate, when there are 30 seconds left, and a red card. That means your time is up, and it's time for the candidates to starting at my immediate left, Nahalani Etienne, Ann Kennedy, Bernice Rivera. I'm sorry, there is a typo here. Oh, someone's secretary gets fired. And Amanda Sponabel Pantalon. We will start with the opening statements with Nahalani.
Good evening, my name is Nahalani Etienne. I am a lifelong Schenectady County resident. I have 4 children, 1 son and 3 daughters, and all 4 of my children have come through Schenectady City Schools. I myself am also a Schenectady High School graduate. 2 of my daughters just recently graduated in 2020 and 2021. So as you can imagine, we didn't get the typical graduation experience. It was a little tough, but I did appreciate all of the folks that reached out and assisted for any of the parents that had children graduating. It was a tough time. I currently have an 8th grader who will be going into the high school next year. She is currently at Central Park Middle School and 13 years old. And professionally, I work for Liberty Mutual. I've been with the company 18 years in September, and a lot of my background that I bring to the board and experience comes from that. So those are just little tidbits about myself. Hopefully we'll get to share more later.
Ms. Kennedy?
Okay. I also am a lifelong resident of Schenectady. I graduated from Notre Dame Bishop Gibbons High School. I attended Junior College of Albany, which is a lower division of Russell Sage, and I earned my nursing degree there. I am married. I have 4 children, 3 of which graduated from Schenectady High School, so I'm very familiar with the high school. I have 7 grandchildren, another one on the way, and they happened to live next door to me, so I have a stake in the Schenectady School District for that reason. I have been employed at Albany Medical Center in the neonatal ICU for 43 years. My duties there include caring for medically fragile newborns and teaching parents and students how to take care of their babies and learn the nursing care that is given there. I also facilitate the neonatal resuscitation program there. I decided to run for school board because after reading the testing that happened over the last year, I was very disappointed to find out that so many of our students couldn't pass the state tests. Education is very important to me. The children that I take care of in the NICU, probably 75% of those kids are in early education, and we need to just do better for our children.
Good evening. Thank you, Women League of Voters, for hosting this event. I want to thank the community for coming out and those tuning in. Hello. My name is Bernice Rivera, and I want to start by saying I really appreciated, and this is part of my introduction, I really appreciated when I went out walking and meeting the community. And one of the things that resonated with me, and I had a few that said, come on my porch, I want to talk to you. And I had about 20 people ask me, why do you want to be on the board? Or others would say, why do you want to do this? So I want to start with that. I am extremely passionate about education. This has been my life, besides my own family. I have lived, breathed education. I have worked as a teacher in Schenectady City Schools. I was an interim assistant principal, and I'm currently at New York State United Teachers, where I work with teachers across the entire state with thousands of members. I live and breathe this. This is all I know besides my family. I am also a mother of 2 graduates from Schenectady High School. I have 3 grandchildren. They're 3, 5, and 7. Both of my daughters are married. We talk about education all the time, and I just want to say thank you so much for all of you for being here. Thank you. Ms. Bongo,
Hello everyone, thank you for coming here tonight. My name is Amanda Sponable-Pantalone. I'm sorry for my scratchy voice and the mask. I'm not sure if it's allergies, a cold, or could be a combination, I don't know, so I figured I'll keep the mask on to keep it to myself. I live in the city here with my husband Justin and my 3-year-old twins, Clara and Joseph. They will be going to school before I know it and have their whole educational experience ahead of them, so I have a direct vested interest in the future of our schools. I'm also a real estate agent, and many of you probably know people base the location of their new home purchase a lot of times on the school district, and it pains me every time someone says, I don't want to move to Schenectady because of the school district. I try to advocate and explain to them the programs that are here are amazing, and other schools would literally dream to have the opportunities for the students that we have. So I'm always advocating for the city, the school district, the city as a whole. We love it. Most of my family lives here as well. So my roots here run very deep. I would like to say that I'm a huge advocate for inclusivity, accountability, transparency, and simply just being kind to one another. These days, I think social media has a big play in just being able to say things without any impact on someone's, physical, emotional, or mental well-being. So it's important to me that all of those things are offered support. Getting 30 seconds, sorry. And, we'll be able to talk more with the questions that come in, but thank you so much for being here and giving us all the opportunity to talk a little bit about what we can do for the city.
Thank you. We will now alternate who answers the questions first, and I will call out the names when it's your turn. The first question is, do you support the International Baccalaureate program at the high school? How would you work to make it stronger? And we will start with Ms. Kennedy.
I do support the program. I think it's an excellent program. I think that people in the fields in our community should be able to come into the school and help mentor these children to be successful in that program.
Thank you. Ms. Rivera.
Yes, I absolutely support the IB program. Both of my daughters actually went through the IB program. The IB program is very rigorous. It encourages students to critically think, problem solve, to think of, I remember one specific question that my daughter came back with was, what is art? We had a whole table conversation around what is art. It was amazing. So I absolutely agree with it. What would make it stronger? I would always say professional development for our educators, because things are changing in our world. Technology is changing. There's artificial intelligence now. There are so many things that are coming out that would be very beneficial for our educators, our teachers, to be provided with additional professional development, and also to be aware of what's happening in other schools with the IB programs. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Bonneville-Pantalone, please.
Yes, I also support the IB program, and definitely think that with anything in the IB program or other programs available, that being open to change and the continuous improvement is the most important thing. And other than that, I'd be repeating a lot of what Bernice said.
And Ms. Etienne.
Yes, I am in also full support of the IB program. I do believe that it is very important to stretch our children, making sure that they're growing up with a growth mindset so that they're open to explore as they go out into the world and start their careers. I think that this is a great program that allows our students and our children to think critically, to see things from a different lens, and I do appreciate that we have that built in here in the district, so I am in full support of it. To grow it stronger, I think that one of the things that's important is just making sure, thank you, that we are making sure students are aware of this program across our district and involving those kids in that program. My daughters did both get the opportunity to be a part of it, and it's incredibly invaluable. So I recommend it highly to all of our students and would love to see it continue to grow. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question, what is your educational background? And we will begin with Ms. Rivera.
So, way back, because I'm a lot older than I need to be. So I attended Albany, University of Albany. My major was sociology, and I feel that has been very impactful in the way that I see the world. And I'm very much into looking at everyone's viewpoints, and I attribute that to sociology. My minor was Latin American Caribbean Studies and philosophy, and I took a lot of Jewish philosophy courses at Albany, and my favorite teacher was Dr. Eckstein. He passed away, but we had some great conversations around Jewish philosophy, and what was interesting, I have to say this, then, see my passion with education. I also received my Master's of Arts in Teaching at Union College, and then after that, I went to College of St. Rose, and I earned my school building leadership program, which was very instrumental in me when I was teaching in the classroom, because I was able to see education in a global aspect as an administrator, as a teacher, and I felt that that was a huge asset for what I'm doing now and what I did in the past. And I also work for New York State United Teachers, and I work with many educators, and I am steeped in curriculum. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Bonneville-Pantalone.
So I graduated from Siena College in 2010 with a bachelor's in environmental studies. From there, I proceeded to get my EMT certificate through the SCCC program here in Schenectady. And While going to EMT school, I worked for New York State and local retirement where I was offered a traineeship and took many business systems analyst courses that really helped open my eyes to, I feel like I get the 30 seconds before anyone else does. I just learned a lot of critical skills used to build, implement, maintain new like systems, computer systems, and processes as well.
Thank you. Ms. Etienne?
I also graduated from the State University of New York at Albany with a degree in sociology, so I learned something about my board president, Ms. Rivera. So that was my major. I minored, double minored in Africana Studies and Theater. And then I am currently in pursuit of my MBA, so I am pursuing a master's in business administration. I think that learning is critical, and walking the walk, I wanted to make sure that I was also doing something for my children. So we are all kind of in school together. I'm pursuing this, and I have two daughters who are juniors and seniors in school at the University of Buffalo and at SUNY, my alma mater. So, thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Kennedy?
I graduated from Junior College of Albany with a degree in nursing and have worked at Albany Med. I continue education as all the time there. It's our mandate that we have to have so many continuing educational credits. And that's it.
Thank you. The next question. The student body is 80% minority. How would you improve academic outcomes for minority students? How would you increase employment and retention of minority principals and teachers? And we will start with Ms. Bonneville-Pantalon.
I think being a member of the Board of Education, you have to know when you need to rely on your team members to help develop these types of, policies. I think overall, so I would have to say at this point that that's a conversation that I would have with the rest of the Board of Education.
Thank you. Ms. Etienne.
We have a very diverse population, and as stated, 80% of that population. So for me, I think what's important in regards to building retention of building administrators, principals, teachers, and the like, is really doing or working on a kind of grow your own mentality or program, where we're bringing our students back into the district and saying, okay, you've graduated here, come and work in the district and share and give back to the community that you've come from. I think that that's a really important and critical way to give back to the community and make sure that that retention exists, but by also continuously looking at who we're hiring into the district and helping them to get there, whether it's through programming or education, things of that nature. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Kennedy.
Can you repeat the question?
Yes. The student body is 80% minority. How would you improve academic outcomes for minority students? And how would you increase employment and retention of minority principals and teachers?
Well, I really feel that families need to get more involved with their children. We have a program that we start in the NICU where parents are given a book and they start reading to their children when they're born. That needs to continue. As they grow, reading to your children and being involved is so important. There's studies that show when parents are involved, their children have better outcomes. Also, education of the teachers to help with students in that area.
Thank you. Ms. Rivera.
Love the question, very loaded, right? Because we would be millionaires if we had the solution. But I will say, I will start with the first part. How will we improve academics? I can say that there are many different things that we can do. The first thing is looking at early childhood, right? How are we impacting and how are we supporting our students when they come into our schools? How are we wrapping around services? When I say wrap around services, it's not necessarily programs, but how are we engaging families? How are we engaging the community? How are we engaging our students so that they are willing and engaged to read and to see the love and the excitement of reading? Having people come in and talk to the students. And I know some of you in the audience, you've been to the schools. We've talked to the students. We show the value of what reading is all about. So how can we improve? We can improve by modeling, by also, as board members, our school is doing a lot of great things. There are a lot of programs, Wits and Wisdom, iReady, Common Lit 360, Power Up. These are all programs that we're initiating in the school district that's really looking at the fundamentals of reading. And then the last piece is support. When we talk about increasing and retention of principals and teachers, especially of color, is supporting those teachers and principals of color. Is also about supporting all teachers and all
Please
principals
finish your
of color.
sentence.
Thank you.
The next question may give you all an opportunity to expand on what you had previously said. How would you improve academic outcomes for Black students? And we will start with Ms. Etienne.
So I would absolutely echo a lot of what was just said. I think that during the pandemic, we experienced very different learning. Our students were relegated to learning behind a computer screen. And as an adult, just that transition for myself for work was really, really tough. So I think that being able to improve academic outcomes for our students, our Black students, and across the district-wide, it's going to be important to provide the supports. We're going to need the teachers, we're going to need the parents, we're going to need the clinician workers. We're going to need all of the support that our children and our students can get so that they're able to move forward and to learn in a way that is beneficial to them now that they're back in the buildings. We definitely have been working very strongly on curriculum. If you've seen some of the board meetings, you'll see, again, Wits and Wisdom, some of the other programs that we're implementing to make sure that our students are gaining and that they will be able to excel in the future and future testing.
Thank you. Ms. Kennedy.
Well, I guess I would say pretty much I agree with everything that has already been said. I do think that we really need to get more family involvement. For kids that did not go to school for 2 years, a lot of them increased psychological problems because of that. They couldn't sit and learn on a computer. They needed their friends. They needed to be interactive with people in general. Everyone was isolated. We need resources for our kids, for mental health and for learning.
Thank you. Ms. Rivera.
There's a lot of the things were mentioned as well, but one thing I do want to mention too is that there's culturally responsive teaching. And culturally responsive teaching really takes a look at all students and what all students' assets and strengths are, and that's a huge piece of really building our students up, because all of our students, every single one of them have assets, they have strengths, and honing in, and there's a lot of research about that too. When you look at the strengths, the capabilities that our students have, and you hone in on those capabilities, that also helps them stretch, it helps them learn. Also, as I mentioned earlier, we do have a lot of programs that have been proven to be very effective, again, like Wisdom, that we have just started in the last year. And I'll pause there, time is up, thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Bonneville-Pantalone.
Okay, so a big thing to focus on would be to kind of discover like what's missing, and then from there, as Bernice was just talking about, identifying the strengths. So once you know kind of what they have and what they need, then you can develop goals and help create vision for the students. Work extra hard to get the families involved. I know we're working hard to get a family engagement community center up and running, hopefully with the budget that passes tomorrow, and just really making sure that the students have that missing piece of the puzzle, and bringing our community together to show everyone what's possible.
Thank you. What are the top strengths of Schenectady schools? What are the top needs of Schenectady schools? How can they improve? And we will begin with Ms. Kennedy.
Okay, assets, I believe our teachers are our main assets. Our community is another asset. I think, like I said before, parental involvement is so important for children. They light up when they see their parents in the school. They need to follow through with their children.
Thank you. Ms. Rivera.
The top strengths of our Schenectady schools are our students, right? They're our clients. They're why we're here. This is why we come to work every single day. This is why we have our board, right? And then I would say our community is another strength, and absolutely our staff, our teachers, our administrators. I know that's more than 3, but our administrators, our teachers, our paras, our hall monitors, the whole community, the school community is essential for us to do the work that we need to do. And then in terms of areas of concern, I would say belonging. That's one of the top things. There's a lot of research saying that the students don't feel part of, if they don't feel like they're being seen, that a lot of the other work that we have to do around academics is not going to be as impactful.
Thank you. Ms. Bonneville Pantalone.
Some of the top strengths, I would say, are just the dedication of the teachers, the maintenance, the staff, our community, and our students' resilience. We just went through a major pandemic. It kind of shook everything up. As far as needs go, post-COVID support, and I'm not talking just financially, I'm talking mental and emotional support as well. It took a toll on our students, and you can see it in the test scores. So how can we improve? I think just continuing to be open with the students, listen to them, like really listen to what they're telling us, what they need, and how we can help them learn.
Thank you. Ms. Etienne.
Okay, so many of the items have already been stated, so I will echo again, top strengths, definitely our students. The student population is amazing. Being able to go into the buildings and see what our children are up to is, it's heartwarming. We actually had a video just relatively recently that we watched where our students were being given all of these opportunities to meet with authors and so forth. So our students are really one of the top strengths that we have as a district. Definitely hands down the teachers. Again, this is something that's very important to me. Without our teachers, we don't have a purpose, right? We don't have a reason. So those would be my top 2, community coming in at 3rd and rounding it out. I think the support that we have been able to provide to our students has been really important. And in the interest of time, moving right along, as far as needs, definitely the social emotional learning portion of it, just aligning as a community and being there to support our kids and our students when they need us most is what I feel is an area that we want to continue to work on.
Thank you. What is the impact of long-term suspensions have on a student's academic performance? And we will begin with Ms. Rivera.
So there's a lot of information around the long-term suspension of our students, of students in general, and it has not shown to be favorable of students being suspended for a long period of time. There is research that shows, well, let me just back up. If a student is being suspended for a long term, the question is, what are they learning from that suspension, right? If they're suspended for a month or for 2 months, and I'm not talking about something egregious where, a knife was brought in and someone got hurt. But in terms of, behaviors that can be used, that can be remedied or can be alleviated by restorative practices, for example, or by our diversion program, to provide opportunities for our students to learn why those behaviors are not the behaviors that we want them to use when they get in trouble.
Thank you. Ms. Bonneville Pantalone.
So our overall goal is really to keep kids in school. So with long-term suspensions, we really need to make sure that it's justified, and if it is something that's happening, It is for something that was significant, like Bernice just mentioned, like a violent action, like severely violent action. I think we need to spend more time focusing on mental health awareness and getting more social workers involved to help prevent and de-escalate some scenarios that might ultimately lead to long-term suspensions.
Thank you. Ms. Etienne?
Long-term suspensions have a very detrimental impact on our students. They're not in the buildings, they're not interacting with their peers, they're not gaining an education that they would if they were actually in the building. So the impact is really, really catastrophic in that way. I do believe that what's very important for us as a school community and as a board of education members to really step in and provide the support necessary to those students to ensure that they are aware of any of the support that's available to them to ensure that they're not engaging in particular behavior that's landing them in this space, but also being very clear on how to support them as a community and as a school community. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Kennedy?
I believe that there should be other options than using suspensions. It causes isolation of that child. It disrupts their learning. It also affects the community. We need more resources for students.
Thank you. Our next question. This year, the school district has no funding problems. How did they manage that? However, in the coming years, there may be a tighter budget. What would be your cutting priorities? And we will begin with Ms. Sponable-Pantalon.
I'm just writing this down so I don't forget here. Okay, so these decisions would never be easy or taken lightly. I think I would have a conversation with the rest of the board. It would have to be, mutually agreeable. I would like to see numbers on, like data on enrollments in different extracurricular activities, and maybe start kind of where it hurts the least. And then working our way up, ultimately making it, like, trying to stay completely away from any type of layoffs, because that does not help our community at all.
Thank you. Ms. Etienne?
This is a tough one. Yes, this year we are not experiencing the same funding issues or concerns that we've had years past. And so I'm really grateful for that, to be able to go into this coming year being fully funded. I think when it comes to budget cuts, one area that is absolutely not, in my opinion, one that we would want to consider is, the staff, the teachers, right, who run the buildings. We need staff in order to educate our children. So that's really important to me. Scaling back is it's a very tough decision and conversation. And I think that just in looking at some of the things that we've raised this year as proposals, it's going to take a lot of conversation around what may be necessary, whether, we slow down the process on some of the buildings, things of that nature. But, curriculum, the teachers, the staff, very important and very critical in what we do.
Thank you. Ms. Kennedy?
This is a really tough issue for funding. I don't think the taxpayers want to pay more taxes, so that's an issue. I think you would have to do a study with the school board and try to figure out where those places could be, where you could actually cut expenses. I agree that teachers should not be cut, and a lot of the social aspects like resource teachers and mental health issues should not be cut. It's really it really is very tough.
Thank you. Ms. Rivera?
I have to say that's a great question and a tough one. I would echo the staff, but I would also, absolutely, our teachers are essential and our staff are essential. But I will also say that I think it's important for us, especially as a board, to hear the voices of our community, our family and staff when it comes to this issue, surveying them, having them come to the board, because we have been very fortunate in the last year and a half that we have many people reach out to us, either on the board, through email. So I would really love to hear what the community has to say, because we are the community. Thank you.
Thank you. Safety is sometimes used as a code word for keeping students from exposure to people with different histories, beliefs, or identities. What does school safety mean to you? And we will begin with Ms. Etienne.
Okay, that is a great question. Safety to me means having safe buildings for our students and teachers. It means having a safe space and place for our children to come, where they're welcomed, where they're not feeling as though they're being ostracized for any particular reason. Again, we serve a very diverse district, and so ensuring that we are there to support all of our students is absolutely critical for them. So that would require that we are ensuring our students are getting the supports they need, whether that is through support from clinicians or from social workers and so forth. When we don't have those parties in our buildings, it makes it really tough for our students to be able to go and have a conversation. Oftentimes, by doing that and also having safety workers in our buildings who know our families, they're able to actually head off some of the issues that are happening in the buildings, and that's bringing safety to our students.
Thank you. Ms. Kennedy.
Safety's a really big thing for everybody. We hear it in the news, unfortunately, too frequently. I think that the school district right now has a pretty good handle on it. They have community engagement officers, school safety officers, we have social workers, and we also have mental health professionals. All those are crucial in keeping our schools safe.
Thank you. Ms. Rivera.
Yeah. Safety encompasses so much, right? A welcoming school, a school that the students and the staff feel that they belong. The school culture and climate are in tune with each other so that everyone feels that they're in a place where they can learn, where they can thrive, where they can teach. But also the reality is that safety, the reality is that we do have outsiders coming into many schools, thank God not in Schenectady yet, and hopefully never. But the reality is that we do have people that come into schools and do really not good things. So we want to make sure that we also have that other safety factor where we do have individuals in the schools that are able to protect our students from outside influences. So it's a combination of many things. We want to make sure our students have the well-being and our staff are in schools where they feel welcomed and where they feel that they belong. And God forbid, if someone were to come to Schenectady and do something, we want to make sure that we have those safety measures in place.
Thank you. Ms. Bonneville-Pantalone.
So to me, safety is broken down into three parts: your physical, emotional, and mental. So for our community's physical safety, clearly we have to rely on school resource officers, the safety team, the red shirts, our emotional safety through inclusivity, respect. Like I said early on, just be kind to one another. And with the mental health, just making sure that people know that there's support out there for them. If they're having a tough time dealing with things, go seek out the help. It's here. There's plenty of people who are willing, capable, and able to help you through social workers and other mental health support workers.
Thank you. Do you support the proposed capital improvement project in Schenectady? And we will begin with Ms. Kennedy.
I do support this budget and capital improvements. I do think that we do have to be careful financially that we spend this money wisely, but our schools need rehabbing, without a doubt.
Thank you. Ms. Rivera.
Absolutely. Our schools are about 95 years old. They need a lot of improvement. I've been into just about every single school in this district. You see paint peeling, you see areas on the top that are like looking, not mold, but they look like they're deteriorating. You see bathroom stalls where you can peek and say hi to people over the stalls. So our schools, and I'm not trying to be facetious, it's true. I mean, our schools need a lot of rehabs. So I am absolutely in favor of it. We have the money, no tax impact, and our students deserve it, our community deserve it. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Bonneville and DeLon.
Yes, I do support it, and with it even being a better, what's the word I'm looking for? Sorry, I'm a little foggy today. Just the no tax impact is like a huge incentive. We get to do all of these things, upgrade our buildings, renovate, improve, make it exciting. Kids feel like they're appreciated and love to see that we're investing money into our schools and ultimately investing into them.
Thank you. Ms. Etienne.
Yes, I am in full support of the capital improvement plans. We are, there's a saying, when you look good, you feel good, right? And our buildings need to look good. We have a lot of buildings around us that have had improvements and so forth. This is our opportunity, this is our chance to actually give our students buildings that are comparable, if not slightly better, right, than some of the other districts. So I'm in full support of this. I think that this is a great opportunity, and again, as it's already been said, there is no impact to the tax levy, so if there's ever a time to do it, now's the time.
Thank you. In some states, school districts have limited school curriculums and the content offered in school libraries. What do you think district policy should be related to controversial topics? And we will begin with Ms. Rivera.
Yeah, as a former social studies teacher, that's very subjective, right? What's controversial to me is not necessarily what's controversial to you. I think it's really important for our students to be exposed to a variety of different opinions, whether we agree with them or not. It helps broaden their thinking, stretch their thinking about the reality of the world. Also, the reality is once they become adults or they go out into the real world, they're going to be confronted with all these viewpoints. But we have to prepare them now to engage in those critical, deep, and respectful conversations about how different, and I don't say there's two sides, there are multiple sides to a story or to a situation. And the students, I feel, need to be really engaged in really courageous conversations about having those respectful discussions with each other, and that helps build them up when they go out into the real world and they have to have these conversations. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Bonneville-Pantalone.
I think the most important thing for us to consider, because when you send your kids to school, are the teachers, the board, you're trusting, I'll say us, to take care of your children. So making sure that the curriculum is age appropriate and is all inclusive, and it does, it's okay to challenge people to think constructively. And I'll also say to just encourage the community to provide feedback and guide us to ultimately help and make the school as great as it can be.
Thank you. Ms. Etienne.
So I do strongly believe that we're able to grow when we're able to show up as our authentic selves. When you're looking at these controversial topics, it is tough. It is a difficult situation, right? However, I would have to echo what President Rivera said in regards to making sure that our students felt seen and feel heard, right? And that means for everybody. That's not at the exclusion of anyone, but it's also having the right supports in place to make sure that our students, our teachers, our faculty are having those conversations and doing it in a way that is meaningful and is impactful for all that are involved.
Thank you. Ms. Kennedy.
Okay. I do not believe in banning books. I think that all the books that our children read need to be developmentally and age appropriate. They need to be able to talk to their parents and their teachers when they read and they don't understand things. And again, it's all about the parents' involvement in their child's education.
Thank you. What can be done to improve the instrumental music program, especially scheduling for middle school? And we will begin with Ms. Bonneville Pantalon.
Well, I will say, since I'm not on the board yet, and I can't comment on this because I don't know enough about what the current problem is, although I was a trumpet player and in choir all throughout high school, so I would be very curious to know what the problems are and help resolve them.
Thank you. Ms. Etienne.
So this was somewhat of an impact for my daughter as a student in the middle school, between all of the activities, right, that she wanted to be a part of. So I think one of the ways that we could, and this is just me thinking out loud, a way that we can improve our music program and scheduling for our middle school students is finding a way to build in maybe 30 minutes of instrumental time into their schedule because they're already busy. They have a lot going on, but allowing those students, if it will actually support, maybe it's music that they're going for, they will be able to use that time to get the credit for that class or that course, but have it built into their schedule and have it rotate so that they're not missing critical instructional time.
Thank you. Ms. Kennedy.
I'm not on the board at this particular point in time, but I can go by what I've seen in the past. Schenectady has always had a wonderful music and arts program. I was involved when my kids were in the school, and I was always in total amazement at what these children accomplished. And we really need to improve on that.
Thank you. Ms. Rivera.
Yeah, and I would agree with VP Nohalani. I was thinking with scheduling, looking at how we schedule our classes currently at the middle school level to integrate that into a period or 2 periods or whatever so that it fits into the student's schedule so that they're able to engage more into music. But I also would say too, music is so powerful. There's also a lot of research about that. And I think really highlighting and helping our students understand that the arts and specifically music is really critical and really important. And I think once they start getting involved in it, we may have even more students involved in the music program.
Thank you. This will be our final question. Currently, the administration supports tuition benefits for doctoral research only. Should the district create a similar stream of benefits for teacher and paraprofessionals continued education? And we will begin with Ms. Etienne.
I would say yes. I think that anytime we have the ability to support our staff and help them further their education, that would be important to do. We want to make sure that continuing education is met. We want to make sure that they have the proper tools to move forward in instructional teaching for our students. So I would be in support of something like that if it were to come to the board, and it would just be a matter of getting the input necessary to figure out just exactly how that would work.
Thank you. Ms. Kennedy.
I also support that proposal. I think that you become stronger the more you learn, and it only helps our students.
Thank you. Ms. Rivera.
Yeah, I am also in favor. I agree that the more our educators are willing and eager to extend their educational aspirations, that they should reap the benefits of it. But I do have to plug that we have the largest MVCT teachers in Schenectady. We have outside of New York City. So even though we're not talking necessarily about the tuition reimbursement, but we do have MVCT teachers, and they do also receive additional pay for that.
Thank you. Ms. Bonneville Pantalon.
Yes, I would be initially in support of a program like that. Education is a beautiful thing, and I think it goes in line with that whole continuous improvement, investing in your, I believe this was for employees. The question was a little long, and I think of the last one, but
For teachers and paraprofessional continued education.
Yes, so it would just be like furthering that continuous improvement and, helping to just make us an overall better, like, well-rounded school district.
Thank you. I think I can squeeze in one more question. How can Schenectady High School increase its graduation rate? How can the district better deal with trouble in the schools? And we will begin with Ms. Kennedy.
That's a really tough question. I think to improve the educational outcomes so that more students graduate, we need more resources for them, and we also need community support. I think the more that you are involved with your community, as far as mentoring, bringing different professions into the school so that students can ask questions and possibly get interested in something like that, makes a big difference.
Thank you. Ms. Pantabon.
So initially, I would say finding ways to engage parents in their students' educational experiences. There's only so much we can do at school. We really need to make sure that parents know how important their role is at home. Another thing is making sure that, so this is for how to improve graduation rates, by the way, is making sure that our teachers are supported. Right now, I hear a lot of like teacher burnout. It's tough out there, and making sure that teachers have that emotional and mental health support that they need to help get them through their days, I think will help them stay focused and excited to keep teaching. And as far as trouble in schools, I feel that that's a little ambiguous. If you're talking about like fights and violence and stuff, then I would say, increasing the school resource officers in our schools as well, along with the red shirts and or the security team.
Thank you. Ms. Etienne.
Specific to the increase in graduation rate, I'm actually excited and looking forward to seeing if things go well. The possibility of using the Family and Community Engagement Center as a way to engage the community. I think that we're all saying something very similar in that we want to make sure that our students are, graduating and doing so at a steady rate and improving on that rate. So it does require, it takes a village, right? So I think with increased meaningful parent interactions by way of sharing information out with our community and making sure that they're aware of what's available to them is going to be critical, and that the Family and Community Engagement Center will be one way to handle that. As far as trouble in schools, kind of going back to the previous question, I think it was, again, I agree that we want to make sure that our students are safe, that our buildings are safe. We've seen far too many things going on in the public eye, and it's important to make sure that we have those things in place that we have already instilled and to keep going.
Thank you. Ms. Rivera.
With graduation rates, I do feel that wraparound services are crucial for our students, and I think we're doing that right now, or should I say we are doing that right now with all the programs that we have, again, with Common Lit, with Power Up, for My Brother's Keeper, we're still going to be doing My Sister's Keeper. These are programs that are mentoring programs, which again, the research says that our students need at least one person, one adult in their life that's caring and that is by their side. So, there's a host of, we have Farm to School. We have a lot of different programs in Schenectady that are really helping to build our students, but building them up holistically, academically, socially, mentally, in terms of mental health and trauma. Thank you.
Thank you. We have now come to the end of questions, and we will begin with closing statements, and we will begin with Ms. Rivera. No rest.
I know. So I am very excited with what's happening in Schenectady. We're doing a lot of exciting things thanks to our teachers, thanks to our staff, thanks to our community. Our community partnerships and collaboration has increased tremendously in Schenectady, which I have seen tremendous growth and positive impacts from our students, whether it's socially, academically. It has been great to see the transition and the revitalization of Schenectady. I would say one big thing, and VP Nohamani mentioned it, it takes a village. Educating is about all of us working together. We need to stick together. It's really important, especially now after COVID. Our students in our community and our society have gone through so much, that we are what our students need in terms of the support, in terms of coming together. No matter what our differences are, there is a respectful, as we're seeing right here, there's a respectful way to have these conversations, and it's really critical for our students to see that we can do that. So educating together, that's my slogan. It's very important. I really believe in that. All of us can do this together. As a board, we cannot do it alone. We want to engage with the community. We want to engage with the staff, with the teachers, with the para, with the custodial staff. It is important for all of us to work together for the betterment of our students. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Bonneville Pantalone.
Thank you again, everyone, for coming out here, and for those who are streaming or who will watch this tomorrow. I just want to reiterate that with my twins getting ready to, embark on their educational adventure here, it is so important to me that they have all the experiences that Schenectady School District offers, because other schools would literally dream of everything that this district offers. The diversity is a beautiful thing. The dedication of the teachers and the staff, the administration, the school board. I've always been a team player. Aside from sports my whole life, I love working on a team. I love people challenging my ideas and vice versa, having that mutual respect, and ultimately coming to the best solution, because it's not my way or the highway. It's our community, and it's important that everyone is represented in the decisions that are made in this school district. I'm not sure if I mentioned it before, but this is my first go at anything like this, and I'm very proud that I was endorsed by CSEA and the SFT Teachers Union. And I just, with the vote being tomorrow, I'm very excited and nervous. So thank you for being here and supporting us.
Thank you. Ms. Etienne.
Thank you. So I want to start by saying it has been an absolute honor and a pleasure to be able to step in and be a board member for the past 3 years. When I started, I didn't know what I didn't know. I've gained so much in the short 3 years. It seemed long at the time, but 3 years flew by. And the time in which I joined the board, there was a lot going on in our own school community, across the nation. There was so much that everyone was dealing with, and I think that over the course of the past 3 years, we have grown as a board, and continue to do so, and I would love to continue to do that work. So I thank you for entrusting me to be a leader in our community, to be on the school board, to represent our children, our families. I strongly encourage, if there's any questions, please don't ever hesitate to reach out. I will be happy to answer, and to do my best to just help in any way possible. So thank you for coming out tonight, and for those of you that are watching, please go out and vote tomorrow. It is important.
Thank you. Ms. Kennedy.
Thank you. I want to thank everyone for inviting me to this forum tonight. This is my first time. I have a quick learning curve, which I really need to, bone up on. But my whole life I have dedicated to education and care of children. And they are our future. We need to do better for them. And I have, used my whole life at this. Like I said, I have 3 grandchildren coming up, and it's important for children to be educated.
Thank you. I would like to thank our candidates for making time in their very busy schedules of going door to door to come here and answer our questions. I'd like to thank you all for being responsible citizens and coming to hear what the candidates have to say. The election for school board candidates and the vote on the budget will be held tomorrow. Polls will open from noon to 9. If you're not sure where to vote, call the Schenectady School District Clerk of the Board at, write this down, 518-370-8100, extension 36905, or Google Schenectady City School District Clerk of the Board. They can also give you information, well, I think it's a little late for submitting an absentee ballot. Yeah, so you've got to get yourself down there to vote. Your kids and your neighbor kids, thank you. And just a little input to Ms. Spanabel Pantalon. Hot tea, lemon, and honey. Thank you all. Have a good evening.